Melissa here, and welcome back to the Scrappery. So today I'm planning on making a couple of pages in my 52 favourites album. I'll just give you a quick flip through. This is a junk journal that I made. It's not perfect by any means. You can see here that this is coming up. I need to kind of fix that. I made it out of, I think, a cereal box that I cut down. So yeah, it's like, I didn't measure properly, and it's way bigger than the inside signatures, but that doesn't matter. I've got three signatures on it, and I've done pamphlet stitch to attach them. I just used my stash and a lot of scraps for this album, and because I'm coming to the end of my Skye kit, I thought it would be perfect to do a spread or two in here for you this week. So here's just a look through. 52 Favourites is a project, a yearly project through Paper Issues, where they call it 52 Friday Favourites. So when you get to Friday each week, you pick your favourite photo and document it. So that's my interpretation of it anyway. Some people document a bit more about their week, but I'm picking my favourite photo. And what I'm finding is my favourite photo is not necessarily the best photo, the most artistic photo, or even the most, I guess, photo that my family would like the most. It is the photo that I like the most, and what I'm trying to do is probably pick a photo that I wouldn't scrapbook on a 12 by 12, because I have so many photos to scrapbook with 4 kids that I don't need to make extra work for myself by scrapping things twice. So often it's actually the memory more than the photo that I'm scrapping. So this is just a look at where I've got to. So I've only got to week 8, and I think we're up to week 16. So I am quite behind. I am not putting any pressure on myself. I have got all my photos ready to go, and I've planned out, the next 2 months that I'm behind with. But it's not a difficult project. I could probably do a spread a day or 2 spreads a day and catch up really quickly. So it doesn't bother me too much that I'm behind. I think just committing to the process and getting it done is the most important thing. And I want to finish this so that when I look back at the end of the year, it's like when you look at your December dailies and you go, oh yeah, that's what we did in the month of December. This will have some meaning to me for what I valued or what was special to me during this year. So yeah, what I'm up to here is the middle of my signature, and I've mixed up, like I've got patterned paper. Some of this is actually from old Scrappery kits. I've got doilies, I've got some just dictionary paper, I've got single-sided paper that you get out of the 12 by 12 paper pads. And I think I've got, that's a memo, if I show you the other side. I bought just from our local stationery shop some of these like timesheets and memo kind of sheets just to mix things up. So if I quickly show you the other signatures, and I've got grid paper from a planner, more patterned paper, some vellum, and my last signature, once again I put, that's a single sheet from a paper pad, some music paper. I've even kept the branding strip on some of them because it doesn't matter. So I've varied the sizes. These different heights of paper will provide more texture. And yeah, I just think it's, for me, project life is never going to work. I can't keep up with it. And this is a great way, even though I'm behind, of attempting to kind of record my year. So yeah, so what I'm thinking I'm going to do today is I want to do weeks 9 and 10, and I want to show you how one kit, or the scraps of one kit, being the Skye kit, can create 2 different looks. So yeah, I'm going to get started. Okay, so I've got 2 photos that I am scrapping. I have got the photo of Ava asleep on the left, and that'll go on the left hand side. I think that's week 9, and then week 10 is a photo that I screenshot of an article that was written about these new vegan magnums. So I don't know if you have magnums where you are, but they're an ice cream that's covered in chocolate and on a stick, and traditionally they are made with dairy. I am plant-based diet and gluten-free, so I'm vegan and gluten-free, and I found some article online that said that in New Zealand there'd be vegan magnums. Now, just as a side, I have found dairy-free ones that still have gluten in them, but I can't have them. But somewhere in this country, I will get my hands on them, vegan magnums. Yeah, I'm in New Zealand, if you didn't know. So here I'm going through my kit leftovers, and on top of or next to each photo, I'm putting the relevant bits and pieces that I think are going to work for each photo. So these two photos are completely different. It just happens that when you get to the middle of a signature, you end up with the same paper. So in this instance, I have put the white paper in the middle. So I do not want this to look like a double page spread. It's not a traveler's notebook where you work on 2 pages for each spread. This junk journal is to have 1 week per page, and so I need this in this part of the signature, like double pages, to look like 2 different pages. I hope that makes sense. I just thought of what I was saying then. It probably sounds a bit weird, but of course I am using the same collection, the same kit, so there are going to be elements that do look the same. However, I'm intentionally scrapping these to look different. So I decided to go with the more darker, because the other side is Ava and more feminine, I decided to go with the darker, kind of more masculine papers and products for the right side. Now, I don't know why I decided to scrap the right side first. No idea. I just gravitated towards trying to work out which of the 2 grey papers I was going to use, and I went with that stripe. And here is one of the Project Life cards, and it is actually, I think, a Becky Higgins Project Life 3x4 card. I didn't want the what's it called, corner rounded edges. These are double-sided and have grid on both sides, so I've just trimmed off the rounded edges. I've torn the bottom just to match the torn bottom on that grey paper, and I'm thinking that that grid will break up the grey stripe, and it will also provide somewhere for me to put some journaling. So I found with this album that sometimes I have a lot to say and other times I don't have much at all. And so in this instance, I don't think I had much to say except that I was looking forward to finding these magnums. And depending on what the photo is, really, probably because I hadn't found them yet. If I'd found them here in Queenstown, I would have taken a photo myself. So yeah, it'd be interesting in years to come, like looking back and seeing when I did actually eat one of these for the first time, and what, I guess, vegan food will be like in this country in a few years. So I wanted to break up the harshness of the grey and white and just backed it with some of that beautiful, it's like a shimmery, it's not though, because it's flat, I guess, but it's kind of like printed on shimmer. So yeah, it's pink, and I just think that provides just a bit of visual relief between the harshness of the grey. So I use that happy word, which was perfect because that's exactly how I felt when I saw this photo online. And I just look at my journaling. Yeah, I just put that I'm excited to see that these exist in our country. So, excuse me, I just need to eat one now and then I'll be happy. And then I had this little banner that said sweetness, which I would normally save for one of my girls, but that's a sweet treat and I think it works really well. And yeah, my final touch was just to add these enamel dots. Now, in case you're wondering, that clip on the side of my page there, that is from Stampin' Up, and I purely needed it to hold that side of my album down. Yeah, they're really handy to use when you're working in junk journals because the more fuller that your album gets, yeah, it's harder to work on a flat surface. So here with this little photo of Ava, I forgot to say that I put white borders on all my photos and I just used white cardstock for this. So these smaller cards, I think it's a 4x6, that comes in the PLK and it is, I think, the 6x6 paper scaled down pattern. So that provided a good little border or photo mat underneath the white, and then I found that I needed to trim it down a bit more because this is such a small album that I'm working on. So this is probably the largest photo that I would work with in this album. It is a 3x4 photo. I think I may have trimmed it down a little bit to make it work, but I just do my collages for my scrapbooking in either the Project Life app or the Canon Selfie app. So here I wanted to use a doily. I've had to cut it because if I didn't it would barely be seen. So I cut it in half and then I just work out how much I want to peek out from the bottom and put double-sided tape on. So that's the easiest way I find to work with doilies, is actually to stick them on my photo rather than stick them directly on the page. Of course, if the photo was a lot smaller and the doily was bigger, then maybe I would stick it on my page first. So, story behind this photo was that Ava fell asleep, had her afternoon sleep on our bed, and I've got another photo to scrap as well because our cat Charlie is lying near her. There's a bit of a gap, but it's really sweet. They're both on their tummies having a sleep. So of course I had to take a photo. Now that is a piece of chipboard, that heart, and what you can do with chipboard is pull off as much of the cardboard as you want to make it thinner. I'm trying to avoid too much dimension in this album. If you've seen my December daily, I did a junk journal. It was my first ever junk journal with 3 signatures as well, but it is so chunky, it's almost ridiculous. I will put a link below to my YouTube channel, so do head on over there. By the time you see this video, my walkthrough of my December daily should be live, so yeah, you can see what I mean by how much dimension and how chunky these albums get. And I'm really trying, I mean I did with the December daily as well, to not have too much dimension. So back to this, I have used some of those flower translucent stickers, or I've used one at the moment, and I've also used a little cross and I think some pink watercolour effect, and I really love how they look peeking out from just behind my photo in that doily. So with this one I don't have much to say either, and I've just used a label. I think it was a sticker, and then there's that little sweetheart word that I've added as well. So you can see by looking at the 2 pages next to each other how they are quite different. The one on the right is more bold, and then with that one of Ava sleeping it's more soft. So here I'm using the Pink Fresh stickers, and there's no numbers in them, so I've had to go into my stash and just pull out some little small letter stickers that have a few numbers on them as well. I'm actually really running low on these because I've been using them for either December daily or for this album. So I think I'm nearly finished. I'm just wanting to add some final finishing touches, and it's really hard to see, but I'm just adding week 10 onto the other side, and I kept it quite subtle on purpose just because it didn't need to dominate. Yeah, so there I'm just showing you how it's looking, and then I thought I was done, but then I realised I wanted to add a few more of these little translucent stickers which you can layer up. So that is my final double page layout for 2 days in my album. So I hope you enjoyed this, and I'll be back again soon.